Hello, my name's Newson. I'm the Technical Director at Xibis, and I would like to show you today something we've been working on recently, which we call Xibis Reporting. Because at Xibis we build bespoke systems, we often get asked to build reporting sections into those systems, because having structured data available to you means that you can reorganize that data and view it in different ways to help you make intelligent decisions. In this video I would like to show you how to build one of these reports to help you get a feel for the tool that we've built. So to start off with, if you hover over the reporting section in the main navigation and go to creating a report, you will come to this screen, which includes two panels. The first lets you select a primary domain and the second the report type. The primary domain is basically the starting point for your report. So if you want to produce a report which tells you something about the emails that are being sent from your system, then you would select emails. If you want to see a report which tells you something about the users of your system, then select users. But for this first report, I want to show you about registration, so I'll just click there. And for the report type, this basically lets you determine the style of the data that you want to view and how you want to view it. So for example, we've got a table option, which just lets you view it in tabular format, a matrix option, which lets you compare two sets of data, and bar chart, line chart, and pie charts, which gives you a nice graphical representation to the proportion of data that's associated with different values. So I'm going to select the bar chart and click Next. This screen is where we start to construct our report. As you can see, it's made up of 4 different panels. On the left hand side we have the dimensions panel. Over here we have the x-axis and y-axis panels, and just underneath we have the preview panel. The dimensions panel contains all of the data which is available to us to include in our report. So you can think of these almost as fields, or a particular cell in a typical spreadsheet, for example. The x-axis and y-axis panels, these actually differ depending on the report type that you've selected. But in the case of the bar chart, the x-axis is the information that gets shown along the left-hand side of the bar chart, and the y-axis is the data which is actually the bars themselves. The preview panel shows us a quick preview of what our report will actually look like. So let me show you a quick example. So I drag first name to the x-axis and the number of registrations to the y-axis. So as you can see, this preview is showing us the proportion of each of the registrations in our system that have a particular first name. So as we can see, there are 4 registrations in our system who have the first name Albert. Okay, so let me show you something a little more interesting. Because in this list of dimensions we have the date of birth column, we can actually drop this down and get access to each of the subparts of that date of birth, which means that if we only want to report on the year that someone was born, as opposed to the complete date of birth, then we can just use the year field here. So let me show you a report which shows us the number of registrations in our system that were born in each year. So here we can see from this report that most of the users of our system were born between 1975 and 1970. So now we've got a basic report, I'll move on to the next stage by clicking Next. At this next stage we can add filters to our report. Filters basically let you limit the information that is returned by your report. So for example, if you want to change our chart here so it only shows registrations where the date of birth is actually in the month of March, regardless of the year, we can drag the month into here, and we can say where the month of the date of birth is equal to March. So click Update to update the preview. And you notice we've got a different chart here now, but still the core correlation in that most of our users were born between 1970 and 1975 hasn't really changed much, but as you can see there's less data now. Underneath the filter section is the parameter section, which basically works similarly to filters but lets you define filters that you will enter information for at a later time. Let me add the day here so I can show you this later on. So we add the day, we select the type of operator, and we can enter a name for this filter. At the next stage, we can add an order to our report. So by default, the chart is actually ordered by year, which is quite useful. But let's say, for example, we want to order by the number of registrations. We can do that just by dragging in the number of registrations from the left-hand side into the ordering panel. So as you can see, now we've got the big bar at the top and the small one at the bottom. We can also easily change the direction of that order just by using these buttons here. So now we've added dimensions to our report, applied filters, and added some ordering. We just have to decide what to do with it. So if I click Next, we'll come to this stage which allows us to choose what we want to do. We can either view the full report, save it, export it, or close and don't save. But I'm going to save it. So it's some quite basic information. We can add a description. And we can also choose to add some HTML, which in some cases will be viewed alongside our report. This checkbox, by the way, just allows us to decide whether we want to limit this report so only we can see it, only the person who created that report, or show it to all the admin users of the system. So if I click Save, our report should be saved. Now we have it. The report's been saved. Now we've saved a report, we can choose to do some extra things with it. So on this edit page, we have these tabs along the top. We have a preview tab, which just reminds us of what it was we actually created. An export tab, which allows us to export the information in this report to us via either email or FTP in either CVS or PDF formats. So if I choose the CVS, CSV and email options and enter my email address, I can click export and that'll be sent off to me via email. So you can then import that CSV file into Excel to do extra things with it, or into any number of external systems. We also have the scheduled export tab, which works similarly to the export tab, but you can choose to have this report exported at a time of your choosing. You can choose to have it sent to you once at a particular time, daily, at a specific time, weekly, on any day of your choosing, or even monthly. And what this allows you to do is to schedule a report to be sent to you at a specific time that's useful to you. So for example, when you get into the office on a Monday morning, you can have a report waiting for you of the orders from the previous week, or any information at all. And that can help you make decisions about what to do in the upcoming week. On this page you can also do some other useful things. So for example, you can see the created time and modified time, and who modified it. And you can also choose to do any of these options, so you can view the full report or edit any particular aspect of it. So if I click View, we should be sent to a new page which will show us that full report. But we also have the drop down for the parameter that I added earlier called date of birth. So I can select the 13th and generate the report, and then we've got the report but limited to those registrations that were born on the 13th of whatever particular month. But you can also just select it back to the default to view the full report again.